Hello, hello, and welcome to another edition of The Take on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. With me is my co-host and partner in this whole deal. That would be Moen After Dark. Shortly, we will have Sergeant Pickles join us. We are doing our Big Ten preview. And while we're waiting for Pickles to show up, I'm going to do something. If I could, it won't let me go from slides to slides. Maybe I won't do it. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. Thank you so much for joining this Big Ten preview show. Moen and Pickles are certainly the experts here. I'll try to keep this thing going, but at the end of the day, how excited are you, Moen, for this upcoming season in Big Ten?
I'm percolating. I am percolating. Getting closer every day. I believe 10 days away now. 10 days. Tomorrow, we're out of double digits. We're down to single digits till college football starts. Pretty exciting, kicking it off with Farmageddon in Dublin, Ireland.
Yes, definitely. That is definitely something to look forward to. Don't want to diverge from the Big Ten, but the Big 12 did have some media news today. The Big 12 has secured its commentating crews going forward for their college football brand on the TNT Sports co-brand, I guess, the sublet that they got from ESPN and Fox. That is exciting. I'm really excited that came out. Those guys look like they're really excited to be covering the Big 12. What'd you think of that?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. It's a crew that we haven't really seen broadcast from before. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it.
Yeah.
And then we also had the news about Kansas's $300 million.
That's no small thing
gift.
in Big 12 either. Uh-oh. Am I lagged? Sorry, Moen, you lagged out there for a sec.
I said the $300 million gift. I wish somebody would gift me like that.
Yeah, I know. You and me both, brother. Well, we're waiting for Pickles to join us. Let's do some quick shout-outs. I don't want to lose track of that at the end of this show. Caden the Diesel Freak, always my first caller on the call-in shows every once in a while when I do those. Says, what's up? Good to see you, Caden. Daniel Gygax says, hi, everyone. Obviously, contributor and moderator-in-chief in these parts as well. Bob Swinger checking in for Penn State. He wants to talk Big Ten preview. Mm-hmm. Good to have you here, Bob. Thank you so much for being a member of the College Football Mafia Nation. MBM says, more Big Ten talk. I'll pass. Come on now. Don't be a hater, MBM. It takes all kinds. But thank you very much for your loyalty, and we appreciate your membership and taking us into the season. It's going to be exciting 2025. Lee says, hello, everyone. Good to see you, Lee. Jason Spangler checking in, my Marty Supreme. What's that mean? You're really good at figuring
Marty
those things
Supreme.
out. Do you know what that one is?
That you've got me.
Yeah, he's got me too. I mean, it usually goes over my head. Moen immediately picks it up. So if it misses Moen, there's something going on there, Jason. Maybe you could clear that up for us. Steele Austin, good to see you, Steele. More Big Ten talk, please. Steele appreciates the Big Ten and worships at the altar, hoping that Utah will get that coveted call-up. I don't think it's coming anytime soon. BYU football, Shonsky, another valuable member, getting closer to being an OG around here, saying hi, guys. Rock Chuck Jayhawk in the house, a new member. As a new member of the College Football Mafia family, he knows how everything works around here. Moen, you want to give him a shout out and then maybe tell everybody else how they can do that?
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Rock Chalk 94. As always, with Kansas fans, we like to give a little that Jayhawk squawk. Anybody else interested in becoming a member, leaving a super chat, gifting a membership, you can do all those friendly things down at the bottom of the chat window. Click the little cash icon and YouTube will do the rest for you.
I love it. That's the greatest thing, I swear. And you guys becoming new members, make sure you check out our full library of member videos in the library. Just go to the is it membership or subscriber area? I can't remember what it's called on the main page.
You can go right to the main page and click members only.
There you go.
You can access all the members videos we have up there.
That's what I'm looking for. Thank you very much for correcting me. Jason Spangler says touche, my friend. So I don't know where we got on that, but Mosito, $2 super chat. Good to see you, Mosito. Moen, you need a Tony Soprano or some RU sounder. Oh, what's RU?
Hold on. I might have a Rutgers sounder here.
Rutgers. Okay. All right. That's right. I forgot
Then
you
again,
live.
I might not. So don't.
Right. I
Maybe I
forgot about it.
shouldn't pump you up with expectations. I know I added a bunch more
You need a Tony
on
Soprano
here
drop.
today.
You got to get something cold from Tony Soprano. We are the mafia after all.
Well,
Need to make that a priority, I think. Anyway, while he's looking for a sounder, thank you so much for the super chat, Mosito. It's great to see you. I'm hearing things in the background. Coy says hi, y'all. Good to see you, Coy. Steel Austin again. Kansas is well positioned for SEC invites. And boy, Kansas, look, we've been saying this around here for almost 3 years. If you want to be a player, you have got to step up and spend the money.
Here we go. What is this? An escalator for
That's running in the background, Mo, and I can hear it.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm hearing it reverb in my headphones. If you want to play, you got to pay. So don't be bitching and moaning about your school, how poor you are, or try to hold back everybody in the house settlement and just hope that the federal government's going to bail you out. You need to do stuff like what happened at KU today. $300 million, another $50 million a couple of years ago. They're here to stay. Kansas is not going away. They might not be a perennial football power, but they're definitely a brand. And they're going to be, I do believe eventually they're going to be just okay. So anyway, good to have you here, Steele. We appreciate you. Edward, the Auburn Tiger, says, let's go. That's fantastic. I love that. And Jason Spangler just finished up the comments. I went to the KU game at Rutgers a few years ago. Best looking girls in the Big Ten. What do you think about that?
I guess it depends on your preference. For me, it would be the Iowa girls, but that's just me. I like them, I like a girl who can plow a field.
Oh,
by the way, Mosito, do not have any Rutgers sounders. I will get a Tony Soprano sounder on here, even though he doesn't have the makings of a varsity athlete.
No, but we do. Well, he always claimed to be a varsity footballer, ready to go play college football. That's what he tells his buddies. I'm just teasing. Daniel Gygax says, and continue to spread the word. We are 120 away from 5,000. Beginning of the summer, I set a stretch goal, 5,000 subs. Everybody told me I was crazy. No way we'd get there in the amount of time that we would need to. And now we're closing in on it, everybody. So help us out. Do us a favor. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, get involved, be a part of the culture that we have around here at College Football Mafia Nation. And if you're watching on X, do us a favor, jump over to YouTube, look up College Football Mafia, and we're the first and only one to pop up, and hit that subscribe button. Help us out. Turn on your notifications on Twitter and YouTube. Follow us on Twitter and YouTube, Moen, Pickles, and I. And get involved. This next season, it's going to be big. We've generally done really well in the off season. This season, in the in-game season, I'm going to try to push hard to keep that momentum going. So we really appreciate all the new subscribers we've gotten, which have been considerable, and continue to push for people to do that. Thanks, Daniel, for helping us out. Keep track of that because it's easy to lose track. Daniel also says, can Elon sponsor West Virginia? We need the cash. Well, you and Iowa State. Did you see the Iowa State thing yesterday? Was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
Yeah, that's bad. But listen, this is the way. This is the way. We wanted them to be paid
right.
We wanted to get them paid for name, image, and likeness, and then we wanted them to get some of that revenue share, and
which is only fair, by the way.
It is only fair, but have to understand a lot of that revenue went to fund other athletics at a lot of colleges. So
right, yeah, no, it's a tough go. There's no doubt about it. But it's like I said, it's not. Just don't bail against the wind. It's just, there's no reason to holler where nobody can hear you, because nobody cares. Nobody cares, and the consolidation will continue. And
Yeah,
if you can't
absolutely.
compete, right, Moen, if you can't compete, you will be left behind.
Yeah, I had a lot of Kansas people reach out to me today asking what that meant.
Really?
Uh,
They didn't
what
quite
that gift,
understand.
what the gift meant
Oh,
towards
okay.
Kansas, and you know, I
Very
explained
good.
it. It's it's Kansas everybody's trying to make themselves look as good as possible for conference realignment, consolidation, and if the Virginia Tech guys to believe possible trifurcation. So,
Well, I think, yeah, I do think that we're closer to that than not. It'll depend, though, on values and how everybody
yeah,
can continue to support their programs. So, anyway, we just encourage everybody. Certainly, if you're at a smaller school or a school that's not in the P2, you need to push on your boosters. Become a booster yourself. Contribute as much money as you can to your program, because they will need it. I hadn't planned on covering it, but since Pickles is delayed a little bit further, let me get. Sorry, it just lost my head. Well,
here,
maybe we'll get to that in a bit. Here's Pickles. All right, let's go here. All right, are you there? We can't hear you, Pickles. Okay, you need to turn your mute off.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Outstanding.
We are getting a little reverb because you're on the no headphones thing.
Yeah, I'll mute myself when I'm not speaking.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. So before we get into which we have the polls, we went through in the College Football Mafia family. Each one of us made our picks. We, did everything we could to evaluate the Big Ten. Let's just talk about you guys' two schools just to start off with, and I'm a little bit Washington in there. So Pickles, I'm going to start with you. What does 2025 look for the University of Washington?
Well, I don't know how much of a dark horse you can be when every single person in the universe is picking Washington as a dark horse. But Damon Williams was extremely promising as a freshman, and I don't think this is the year where he breaks out and is like a national, Heisman contender level guy. But he, I think, genuinely makes the difference in a couple of those games last year, to the point where I'm calling right now 8 wins, and I think potentially 9.
Wow.
I don't see him contending for a Big Ten title quite yet. I think they're 2 years out, but it has some of the feeling of 2023 Washington with Michael Penix, where we knew they weren't quite to their maximum potential, but they have all the pieces coming in place. This is Jed Fish's first real year having a full off season, a full transfer portal, and he has backfilled a lot of those depth issues that Washington had, especially on the offensive and defensive lines.
Okay, and just one more question, and then I'll turn the time over to Moen. Is what do you think about which is the biggest strong suit for the Huskies this year? Is it going to be offensive or defensive driven? If you're going to win 9 games could probably put you in the playoff.
Yeah, there's an outside shot. They have a tough schedule. They got Washington, Oregon, Ohio State, among others, and they're traveling to Wisconsin, which I don't care how tough the Badgers' schedule is. That's a tough place to play. The offensive skill positions for sure. I mean, West Coast team, that kind of fits the stereotype, but it's true. Between Damon Williams, they have a potential first-round caliber receiver in Denzel Boston, and then they have Jonah Coleman, who was a 1,000-yard back in the Big Ten last year. And that's 1,000 yards behind a pretty poor Washington offensive line. So they have the skill positions. And like I said, I apologies for my dogs. They have the skill positions and some of the depth, I think, to get them through those tough times in the middle of the season.
Moen?
Regarding Washington?
Yeah.
I think Washington's got a very tough schedule this year. I don't have them finishing very high. I think 6-6 might be generous.
Oof.
It's a tough game out there in the Big Ten right now. You've got Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State. I think Illinois I think you've got 4 college football playoff teams in the Big Ten starting out.
You don't mention Michigan State or Michigan.
I don't mention.
My quick counter to that, Moen, would be they get Illinois, Oregon, and Ohio State at home, where they went undefeated last year.
Okay, that's fine, but it's still Ohio State, Oregon, and Illinois. I get you get a little bit of a home field advantage, but the talent levels, and it's nothing against the Huskies, the talent levels between Washington and Ohio State, it's a huge gap. Washington and Oregon, it's a huge gap. Illinois, I would say Illinois would be your best chance to knock off one of those top 3.
Yeah, I'm not predicting they would go 3-0 at all in those games. I think 1-3 is certainly doable. I mean, obviously, I would have to pick Illinois. My question with Oregon is at the quarterback position, because any Pac-12 fan has seen Dante Moore play. Yes, the Ducks are loaded everywhere else, but rivalry games kind of throw it out, so that's its own thing. If the Huskies can pull off an upset to 2-1, they're in strong position out of those 3 games, and the rest of the schedule's manageable. The other kind of huge pitfall for them is, like I said, Wisconsin on the road, despite how the Badgers may or may not be playing, and then at Michigan. I think that's a tough hill to climb, but the rest of the schedule is very, very manageable.
Excellent. Okay, thanks for that, Pickles. I appreciate that. Yeah, have a drink. You're home. You're behind. You're not driving. Take the Great R.
Shout out to the Rainier beer.
Yeah, I can do a Rainier beer appreciation, just because I love the logo. I do it for family reasons. Okay, Moen. Ohio State. Tell us why Ohio State doesn't win the national championship this year.
They do win the national championship this year.
Come on,
Bomber.
you got to play devil's advocate.
No,
help us out.
I'm not going to play devil's advocate. I've got Ohio State achieving their first back-to-back national championship in school history.
Oof.
Julian Sand is a stud. Jeremiah Smith is him. You've got the offensive line is gelling. Austin Searveld getting rave reviews down there. A little bit of a question at running back. Pickles is probably going to be your starter. You've got C.J. Donaldson in there as well. On the defensive side, holy shit. Caleb Downs, best safety in America. Sonny Styles, in my opinion, might be the best linebacker in America. Just a great hybrid linebacker, flows to the ball, can just really knock it out of the park. Arvell Reese, another good one. Depth remains a question, but Reese's performance could be effective in rotation. Devin Sanchez, he's a 5-star freshman. He is getting compared to Chris Gamble at Ohio State. That's how good they're putting him at the cornerback position. Tough schedule. They do have a tougher schedule, but I think this is ripe for Ohio State to run the gauntlet. Beat Penn State, beat James Franklin, and I think Ryan Day is finally going to get over his hump, and I think he's going to beat that team up north. So I got Ohio State winning the Big Ten. You can call it homerism, you can call it whatever you want. I think Ohio State's the best team in the Big Ten in total talent. And I think people are going to be really surprised when they see Julian Sand out there slinging that ball. Ohio State is still best wide receiver room in college football, hands down. Offensive line gelling. Pickles, I think, is going to really hit his stride midseason. And I think that defense, Matt Patricia, not a great head coach, but he was a pretty damn good defensive coordinator in New England. I think he's going to bring a next level to that defense, especially in the secondary and the linebacker core with James Laurinaitis coaching linebackers.
I think Patricia was a steal. I think bringing him in was a real coup. Toughest road or home challenges?
Toughest challenges are going to be Illinois. I really like Illinois. Illinois is who I think is going to hit the break or bust into the college football playoff party this year. I think
Okay.
it's Illinois. I really like what they've done there. I really like what Brett Bielema has done there. I think that's going to be a tough game for Ohio State, and then obviously Penn State and Michigan.
Penn State. Where's that game at?
Ugh.
Moen, where's the
I
Penn
believe
State
Penn
game at?
State's at home this year.
Okay, that definitely gives them a leg up. Go ahead, Pickles.
Yeah, Ohio State's schedule is certainly it's a handful of tough games and then a handful of not so tough games. It's a big contrast. We also obviously know about the early matchup against Texas, but Washington, Illinois, Penn State, Michigan, even playing at Wisconsin, it's a tough schedule. It is. There's no easy roads in the Big Ten. Moen, I've never disputed how supremely talented Ohio State is, but Julian Sayin has 12 career pass attempts. Could he be an absolute monster and just sling it and just destroy the Big Ten? Yeah. But you could see a lot of, let's say, Dylan Raiola-esque growing pains where you see the flash, you see all the good things, but you see those inexperienced moments too. And that's why I think the Buckeyes, they're still going to be in contention for the Big Ten. I have them as a CFP lock, although I'm not sure where. But I think they drop one or two along the way.
Yeah, I think if they get past Texas, it's going to be a strong run. The next challenge would be Illinois in October. And I hear what you're saying about Julian Sam, but he's not a true freshman. He had a year in under Chip Kelly's offense. He understands the particulars of the offense. And listen, when you've got wide receivers like Jeremiah Smith out there, it's going to be real easy to sling that ball around. Be interesting to see if they don't do more runs this year.
Peek around the corner, Greg Flugar, the great Greg Flugar, had a great show tonight, or today. I listened to it. $10 super chat says, bite me, Buckeyes, bite me. October 4th, Golden Gophers 27, Buckeyes 24.
October 4th of what year? 1936, Greg? Come on. Let's get serious here.
That's cold. That's just cool. There's no reason you got to be mean like that. All right. Anything else you guys want to say about your schools before we get to our picks and how everybody thought the conference would break down?
My kind of hot take this year, and not so hot, is that I don't think anyone comes out of the Big Ten undefeated. I do think, however, they get at least 4 teams in the college football playoff. It's going to be super top heavy, but everyone's going to have anywhere from 8 to 11 wins.
Okay. Moen, last words?
I agree with Pickles. At least 4. I've got 4 Big Ten teams in my college football playoff predictor. Could be a 5th. You know, the SEC, it might stumble again. I mean, we saw last year that
dark horse pick.
Yeah, USC and Alabama deserve to be in, yet they lost to Big Ten teams in their bowl games. So maybe the committee looks back at that and says, hey, maybe just give that 5th spot to an Indiana or a Michigan.
Boy, if we live in a world where the 4th team is Indiana and they get it in the playoff, I don't know what to think, because I think that'll be broken at that point. But that's an outsider's view. I can take strays and not worry about it. You guys are more close to the heartbeat there. All right, well, let's get to our picks. So let me bring this up here. I had it, and then there we go. So the entire College Football Mafia team went through, and we did picks. We will go through everybody's picks, and then we'll do the aggregate really quick as we break each one of these down. If you guys want to comment about them, that'd be totally cool. The other guy, Daniel, says Oregon is going to win the whole thing. Penn State, Ohio State, Illinois, Iowa at 5 stands out to me. Michigan, Minnesota, USC. Neither one of you guys mentioned USC. How down is USC that everybody's picking them to be mid-table?
You'll see when we get to my picks.
Okay. All right. Rutgers, Washington. Rutgers, again, Big Ten is so good. Nebraska, Michigan State, Indiana takes a fall. Maybe sophomore jinx. UCLA, what are they? Pickles and I know just how silly that brand is down there. Wisconsin, Northwestern Maryland, and Purdue bringing up the rear. Then Rock and Rant says Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon. Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Minnesota. Look at Minnesota checking in the top 7. Again, USC, Iowa, Nebraska, Washington, Pickles. Not giving so much love there. UCLA, Michigan State, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Maryland, Northwestern, and Purdue. I think the bottom of the table, Wisconsin looks down hard. What do you guys think about those two?
I'd say for guys, this is my caveat for all the Big Ten rankings. The top 3, I think, stand apart. You can put them in whatever order you want, and I don't think you'd have too much pushback. Teams 3 through about 14, you could darn near throw them in a hat and draw them out, and I could believe what ranking you came up with. I do think it's so tough to differentiate them until you kind of get some games to sort them out.
Right.
Daniel's real high on Iowa. I don't know if he's getting the Mark Gronowski hype, 2-time FCS champion quarterback, but ultimately this is a Kirk Ferentz coach team, so they're going to win 8 games because it's what they do. So I think Iowa's a little high. USC, I don't know if I believe in Maeva. I know he's the betting favorite to lead the Big Ten in yardage or passing yards, but I think that's just more a result of Riley's offense. I was not impressed with him in the bowl game last year. They're still supremely talented. They'll still pick up some wins, but I don't think USC is quite there yet. The Rutgers over Washington, trying not to be a total homer. I get that Washington, if you look back at legitimately their losses, they were significantly closer to 9 wins than they were to 5 or 4. They lost games by razor-thin margins, and I think, like I said, that year under Fish closes that gap and gets them those, 7, 8, potentially 9 wins. So other than that, Bomber, you and I both know UCLA. It's just they're always, have great stars on paper but never put it together, and it's almost even more of a circus after their whole quarterback transfer debacle. Real quick on Rock and Rant, I could buy it. I don't see anything super duper out of place. Minnesota, I think, is high. People wondering if PJ Fleck's going to kind of jump into that, contender, Big Ten, just outside the championship game type season. So we'll see. Nothing too huge to gripe about with these lists, though.
Moen, and what stands out to you?
Minnesota, Iowa, always consistent brands in the Big Ten. Since PJ Fleck took over at Minnesota, just, they're always going to be in that 8-win, on a rare occasion, they'll make it to 9-win category. Most interesting to me, Final 4, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Maryland, and Purdue. I think that's a trend you're going to see throughout everybody's picks. I agree with this. Sorry, Ryan Willie. Hopefully Wisconsin gets it turned around. I don't think they've got enough this year to get it turned around in the first season of this offensive coordinator. Wisconsin, Maryland, Northwestern, Purdue. And there might be an argument here that all of these schools finish with maybe just 1 conference win, 1 or 2 conference wins.
Wow. Well, that's what realignment does to you. You bring in, you're going to lose a lot more games, which is why the SEC wants 8 games. It doesn't want to expand. So, I totally hear what you guys are saying. Pickles, you and I are on the same wavelength about UCLA always. How is it that North Carolina can make powder blue work and UCLA cannot is a question for the gods.
Yeah, they keep going to that really weird muted gold instead of just sticking with their classic look.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd help them on the football field, but they'd win a lot of style contests if they went back to it.
Troy Aikman made it work, right? It's been 30 years ago, just so everybody knows. It's just been crazy numbers. All right, let's get to Becky and Moen. So Becky says Penn State, Ohio State, Illinois. Hello. Iowa, Oregon, then USC. So Becky's looking to make up some style points here, upset the apple cart. Nebraska, Michigan, Washington, mid-table, not a shocker. Indiana takes a tumble. Minnesota, UCLA, Michigan State, Rutgers, Maryland, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Purdue. Dang, how bad do you feel for Northwestern Purdue? They're just on the bottom of everybody's list. And then Moen, of course, says Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State. I agree with you guys. Those 3 are interchangeable. Illinois, Michigan, Indiana. And again, I think Indiana is going to step back. I think Illinois is going to do better myself. But Minnesota, Iowa, Washington, Nebraska, USC, UCLA. Man, does Lincoln Riley get fired?
Yeah.
If they don't win 9 games, does he get run? I think he does.
No. The only reason I could see Riley getting fired is if, I mean, even 6-7 wins depending on the game for USC. It's all about,
though.
I know, but it's all about appearances. If they make the bowl game and look good, because let's be honest, even if they win 6 or 7 games, they're going to get put against a prime opponent in some whatever bowl, and they'll do what they did last year. They'll beat an SEC team, and Riley looks great, and they have so much hope for the future. They have #1 recruiting class. Like, that's what Riley does. He, the offense always puts up numbers. He never seems to address his team weakness in defense. I know that they brought, his name is escaping me, but they brought over the DC from UCLA, and they were marginally improved last year, but it's got to be a big step forward if you're talking Big Ten title contention.
Moen, any other notes?
Listen, I think USC's defense might outplay their offense this year. I really do. I am not
that's
sold.
necessarily difficult.
I'm not sold on Maivia as a quarterback. I saw him play in the bowl game. I get it. He's mobile. Lincoln Riley, great quarterback whisperer, all these Heisman Trophy winners, but he just doesn't have it for me. And I know they've got great recruiting classes, but they had a lot of guys transfer out last year too. And that's definitely going to hurt them on the, especially in the wide receiver core when they lost Branch. So, and he was their big stretch wide receiver. So I don't have a lot of faith in USC's offense this year. Defensively, I do think they'll be improved.
I will just say this: college football is better when USC is good.
Sure.
It's totally it's a bastardization of reality to not have USC competing in the Big Ten every single year.
Agree to disagree. Go Dogs.
Well, that's rivalry talk, though. That's not the same. Then we'll move on to me and Ute. Ohio State. I had Ohio State winning again. Oregon, Penn State. Look at me, USC giving them a shot. Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Washington. Better than that's an 8-4 season. Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, UCLA. If I could make them -1, I would. Michigan State, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Maryland, Northwestern, and Purdue. Boy, just mix and repeat. And then Wild Ute picking Penn State to win the whole thing, which could happen. There's every reality that could happen. Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, Nebraska. There's 2 that are higher on his list than other. Illinois, USC, Minnesota, Iowa, Indiana, Washington, Michigan State, and down the line. Thoughts on these 2 guys?
I think like I said, my blender theory of teams 3 through 14, and if you look at these 2 lists, none is more emblematic than Nebraska. Like, it's whether or not you believe Holgorsen can get the best out of Raiola, and the Big Ten and that outside of that top 3, which I think have appeared on every list in the some order of the top 3.
Right.
It's just going to be an absolute slobber knocker with a lot of close games. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited to watch all these games, but man, I don't see any list that I strikes me as completely impossible.
Moen?
Yeah, the only thing I would take up with you is he's got Rutgers as 4th best. I think Schiano, again, I don't think Schiano's going to have as good a season as he had last year, but I do think
Kyle
he's going to do
Monangai,
better
though.
no Kyle Monangai. New trio of running backs to try and get it done. He does have Kaliak Manis coming back, though. So I would put it a little above. I wouldn't put Rutgers that low, but that's the only thing that really – Nebraska, I don't think I'd put Nebraska that high either. I can get Michigan at number 4. Nebraska at 5, I just do not see it. I don't see it.
The Nebraska, I'm going to say the same thing about Nebraska as I did with USC. I wish college football is better when Nebraska is good. So what's it going to take for Nebraska to turn the corner? Do you guys know?
They've been trying to crack that code for a decade since they've been, or decade plus in the
more
Big Ten.
than that.
They haven't done it yet.
Well over 20 years at this point.
Bring Scott Frost home. That's what they need to do.
All right, that's enough of that. And we'll get to now the average of our picks. and I think this is absolutely fair. And I think as a team, we did a pretty good job. Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, Illinois. I know Illinois is going to be very good. Fourth, I do question, and then Michigan, USC, Iowa, Minnesota, Indiana, Nebraska, Washington, Michigan State, UCLA, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Maryland, Northwestern, and Purdue. And then there are the averages. What do you guys think about how the team did on these?
Pretty solid. I think just by the numbers, some kind of tiers strike out in my mind. You got the top three, and then I'd say like Illinois through Washington kind of appear to be in that, really tough competitive second tier where you're not quite going to make the title game.
8-4, 7-5. Yeah.
You're talking 6 to 8 wins kind of in that bracket there. And then kind of Michigan State through Wisconsin, you're in that 4, 5, 6 wins. And then God love you, Maryland, Northwestern, and Purdue, but it looks like it's going to be a tough year. We all kind of agree on that.
Moen?
Yeah, I think everybody put Purdue dead last.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's getting any better for Purdue. I didn't agree with the coaching hire. I thought Barry Odom was a terrible hire for Purdue. I thought Ryan Walters was a terrible hire for Purdue. Purdue needs to get an offensive-minded coach. They really do, because when Purdue's offense is clicking, they are the spoiler makers. It's a scary place to play. I don't think Barry Odom's getting them there. I really don't. I'm kind of surprised that everybody has Indiana slipping so far.
I think it's a sophomore jinx. I think last year they had a favorable schedule, and I'm not a believer. I think it's a one-year wonder. I don't know that they're building some great machine there.
You've got Fernando Mendoza coming in from Cal. He completed 68.7% of his passes for 3,000 yards. 3,000 yards.
It's a little above average, Moen.
It earned ACC recognition, so that's going to be Elijah Sarrat, still a great receiver. Justice Ellison at running back, I think he's going to have a good season. And I think offensive line, they're good. Now, defensively, they may take a little bit of a step back. You might be right on that. But offensively, I think Fernando Mendoza, I mean, look what he did last year with a kid from Ohio University. He took a MAC quarterback.
Hey, don't be mocking the Bobcats. I love. He
took a MAC quarterback, and look how he had that kid slinging the ball for Indiana.
Yeah,
I believe he could take an ACC quarterback. Of course, Cal being in the Atlantic Coast Conference, he can take that ACC quarterback, and I think he can do the same thing. The guy seems to be really good at quarterbacks. He's a quarterback whisperer. So I really like that transfer quarterback that they've got in, and I think he's gonna surprise some people.
Yeah, Hoosier fans, before you think we're dogging on you, understand that a step back in a down season is still like probably 8 or 9 wins.
Yes, that's right.
Like,
yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Illinois fell off. Like maybe they don't make the playoff. And I think that kind of has to do with I've already seen the narrative not Illinois, Indiana, that you've seen in the offseason. They're like, softest schedule, and they got trounced by Notre Dame. They should have even been in the playoff, even though they had one loss. The narrative's out to get them. They'd have to darn near replicate what they did last year. So, like I said, a step back, 8-9 wins. You're still a very, good football team, but that's going to be the difference between making the playoff and not this season.
So looking at this list, it's very apparent. Everybody knows the top end are all interchangeable. They're all within 1 point of each other. And I think any one of those teams could win the national championship. Is there a dark horse? And I'm just going to take Illinois out because I think Illinois is definitely on the come up. If it's not Illinois, that is the fourth team that makes the CFP. Who else could get that entry?
Michigan at Underwood is good, but other than that, Washington, if Damon Williams has some crazy season, but that's tough to predict. Truthfully, I think Michigan and maybe USC, but Lincoln Riley just hasn't proven it on the defensive level in a conference like the Big Ten to get enough traction. what's going for USC and Michigan is they have the brand name that can push them into that final spot. But I would have to pick Michigan if you're going for 5 teams.
Moen?
Yeah, I hate to say this as an Ohio State fan, but I agree with you. I think Michigan, if Bryce Underwood could even just be serviceable in his freshman season, you got to realize Michigan beat Ohio State last year with no quarterback. Their quarterback play was awful. They beat Alabama with no quarterback. Just if you could get a serviceable quarterback in there, Sherrod Moore has done an excellent job recruiting defense. It's next man up in Ann Arbor. That defense is going to be solid again. The offensive line is going to be solid. They're going to be a run-first team. I think they can grind it out. Maybe a couple close games, but like I said, Underwood, he's got to be serviceable. Can't be making stupid mistakes. Stupid mistakes can cost you close games, and I think Michigan's going to find themselves in a lot of close games. So he can't. He's going to have to mature fast and not make stupid mistakes.
Excellent points, both of you. I think at the end of the day, what we know about the Big Ten is it is extremely top heavy, but that doesn't mean that the middle is much weaker. At the end of the day, what's going to come down to is just getting on the field and winning games, right? So I'm not sure there's much more to debate about this list. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about the Big Ten before we go to questions and comments from everybody?
I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball in, and I would say my teams that I could see really shooting up, let's say 2 years down the road, just because it's a lot of fun for me. I think Michigan State can make a huge jump just because we've seen Jonathan Smith do amazing things at Oregon State. He's a program builder. UCLA, they're going to recruit well, and I can see them shooting up. Nebraska, if Dylan Raiola, if he really is the 5-star guy that's like a Heisman contender, I could see Nebraska shooting up. So those are my 3 2 years removed dark horses in the Big Ten, just for fun.
Moen?
I just want to say that Penn State, I think, and I know Penn State fans don't like it when I say this, but it's time for James Franklin to figure it out.
Yeah, I agree with
he's
that.
had more than enough opportunities. Now they have a really tough schedule this year. They've got Oregon, they've got Ohio State, they don't play Michigan this year, but they've got Iowa. They've got some tough games. Indiana again. I think Indiana's going to surprise a lot of people. Penn State's got some tough games, and I think James Franklin, he's going to have to get over that Ohio State hump at some point. But I think that Oregon game on the 27th, September 27th, that's going to be the biggest indicator. Can they get Oregon? And I don't know that they can, but we'll see.
They're going to have to score points to beat Oregon. I think everybody has faith in the defense, but
they've got it at home. It's a night game, but I think that is going to be the telltale for the Penn State season. Now, maybe it's a situation they lose to Ohio State this year again, and they use it as motivation to go on a playoff tear. Ohio State did it last year, losing to Michigan. But I think it's time. James Franklin has got enough talent on that team. Agreed, some of the wide receivers are a little iffy. We're not quite sure where they're going to be yet. But in all honesty, this was a team was an interception throw away from potentially playing in the national championship game last year. And they bring back Katron Allen. They bring back Nick Singleton. There is, it's just, I don't think there's any more excuses for James Franklin if he cannot get it done this season.
I think the one thing that would go against that is that Penn State's extremely conservative and doesn't like to make massive moves. So while it is possible they replace Franklin. I just don't know that they have the wherewithal to do it, to be honest. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you don't win now, when you do win, what is that expectation for the next hire? I think that would be difficult to figure out.
My underrated concern for Penn State, no Abdul Carter on the defense, but they've got depth there that'll come forward. No Tyler Warren. and that he was such a weapon for them last year. He was the
Right.
do-it-all, everything man. I don't know if they have that guy to replace him, and can they get the quarterback play without the Swiss Army knife, assisting him to really compete with teams like Ohio State and Oregon who will put up points?
Very fair. Very fair. That is our Big Ten preview. We're going to now take comments and questions. I want to invite everybody. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter right now, jump over on YouTube, College Football Mafia, and become a subscriber. We're pushing towards 5,000 subs. We've got roughly 80 people watching this live on YouTube. Please do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications on YouTube and Twitter so you know when our shows are coming up, and become a member of the College Football Mafia family. Just before we switch gears to comments and questions, I want to preview tomorrow. I have Jeremiah Dickey, the AD at Boise State Broncos, will be with me tomorrow afternoon, actually, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be live. I'm hoping to keep him for 20, 25 minutes. If there's anybody that has done a good job with less resources, it's Boise State. And Jeremiah Dickey is definitely opinionated on where Boise State is and where the Pac-12 is going to be moving forward. So I want to preview that at this tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And make sure you try to join me live. It should be a lot of fun. All right, guys, let's get to comments and questions. We're constantly marking new comments and questions. If you guys have any comments and you want to make sure they're really that we read them for sure, make it a super chat. Just hit the $sign next to the comments window and give us a super chat, and I will absolutely read any of those that pop up. Other than that, we will take member comments first. That's how we do things around here. Then, of course, you're always free to leave a comment or question. As we go into Q&A, do you guys have anything else you want to say before we switch over?
Yeah, I just want to bring up Penn State. They've got a new coordinator on defense. How will that work out in year one, what do you guys think? Do you think Jim Knowles, first year at Penn State, we know Penn State's already loaded with defensive talent.
They are, yeah.
It took him a couple seasons at Ohio State, and if we're to believe what the rumors are, it took Ryan Day and him having an argument after the Oregon loss to kind of free up and put a little more pressure in there. How do you think he does at Penn State under James Franklin?
Pickles?
I mean, it's hard to say. He's bringing the exact same system, is extremely successful. I have no reason to doubt that it can translate. Same conference, same opponents, familiar faces. I don't think there's going to be that much of a fall off. Is he the missing piece that puts them over the top into a national championship? I'm kind of skeptical on that. I don't know. I don't know his systematic changes that he's going to make at Penn State that would really have that big of an impact, as opposed to just maintaining their high standard that they've had at Penn State.
I think Penn State is a defense first culture, and they will continue to be that way. Their problem has been, and you guys have both said it, got to generate the offense. Maybe this is the year that defense can carry him over the top. I think it's going to be extremely difficult to get by Ohio State. I know they got some first place votes in the coaches and AP poll. Very earned, right? Nothing is given to Penn State. Can they generate enough offense? They have to play Oregon. That by itself might be a litmus test on the rest of the season. It's in September.
They get them at home. They do get them at home, but my question is, can Drew Aller and that offense keep up point-wise with an Oregon Ducks that's going to have a high-powered offense? And I understand everybody's worried how Moore is going to be. He's been in that system for a year. We saw how well Dylan Gabriel was coming into that system. I don't think that Dante Moore is going to struggle at all in the Oregon system. I think he's going to excel.
You agree with all that, Pickles?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, it's just this top three is racking my brain of you're trying to just split hairs between.
It is. It is so close. The margins are so close.
Yeah, the margins are really close. And like you said, Moen, I think that Penn State-Oregon game could have the same flavor as the Ohio State-Oregon game of last year, where it's like a pseudo conference championship type preview, and the winner of that game takes such a huge leap forward in getting to the conference championship.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed. All right, let's get to comments and questions. Appreciate it, everybody being here. This has been a fantastic show already. I want to thank everybody for joining me last night for the live call-in show. I'm trying to do those more often during the season. I will probably do one a week and have sound off. So look forward to that. Want you guys to be here. You can complain, call in, and tell me why your team won or lost and why they're going to win the national championship. But a lot of people don't know I do it. So I'm going to continue to sell that thing. Call-in show here at the College Football Mafia channel. All right, let's get to some comments and questions here. First of all, I want to get to this one because he used my name, which is a secret code. If you know, you know. That would be Jason Spangler says, great get, Bomber. He's talking about the Jeremiah Dickey interview, and it will be, I am so excited. Been trying to do it for 2 months, by the way. He has been hard to pin down, that guy. All right. Lee says, I have to see it to believe it. However, a lot of buzz in camp about Trabar Pena and Kyron Hudson.
Which they develop good tight ends at Penn State. I mean, I don't doubt their ability to develop tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they need a suitable Tyler Warren replacement rather than just being a traditional line up and block and catch a couple passes tight end. They need the Swiss Army man.
All right. Peek around the corner. Greg Flugor, another super chat. Can we get him a Badgers sounder? Sorry. Minnesota. That was I apologize. Freudian slip. Don't yell at me. Don't yell at me, Greg.
Row that boat for the flight and Flugars.
That's all I care about. Greg, thank you so much for the super chat and being a member of the College Football Mafia live. What do we call it? It's a family, really. Hoosiers have defensive end Kamara, who led all FBS and QB pressures, and linebacker Aiden Fisher, who is second team All Big Ten. Cornerback D'Angelo Pons is first team All Big Ten. So Greg sees maybe a return and maybe even improvement on Indiana. Could Indiana's perception in the world, if they go 10-2, is that better than 11-1 last? I mean, could they really cement themselves if they return with a good?
That's going to be huge for it. It would be huge for recruiting, Bomber.
Right.
It would show that, hey, we are building, putting a foundation down. Indiana is going to be mentioned every single year in the Big Ten.
Their schedule is reasonably favorable by Big Ten standards. They have Oregon, they have Penn State, but plenty of manageable games. And I think that's the difference is of the Oregon, Penn State top 3 contender types. How do you stack up in those 2 games? I think that'll tell the tale of whether this is a step forward season or a slight step back. Very
fair. Let's see here. C. Curtis says, at Bob Swinger, Franklin has lost game due to bad decisions. In my honest opinion, Penn State deserves better if he doesn't win it. Am I wrong? So is this a make or break year? Moen, you kind of maybe said they might get anxious there. What do you think?
Well, again, I have to see how it plays out. Again, we've got to remember this guy was just a bad interception away from playing in the national championship game last year against Ohio State. But he does have, we bring up Ryan Day's issues with Michigan. James Franklin has an issue with Ohio State. It's on, at some point he's going to have to shake that off and beat Ohio State. And it's not like Ohio State has dominated them. They've not had, the 50+ 51-24 games. But I agree with C. Curtis. Franklin has lost games due to bad decision making. I think we can all remember a few years ago when it was 4th and 3 or 4th and 4, and he went for a run on 4th, and it was the last play of the game. The year when they matched up a running back on Bosa to block Bosa, and he just picked up the running back and threw him in to the quarterback. That was, again, an overtime game on 4th down. James Franklin does have a history of just making the worst possible decisions at the worst possible moment.
Pickles.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure's on only because at a year when Penn State's returning so much talent, and as Moen said, they were not too far away from making that national championship, you're returning the majority of your important starters. You made a pretty impactful defensive hire in terms of,
I agree.
you know, whatever coaching you could improve upon, you at least went out there and tried to do it. So you're just returning talent. You're in a conference where your primary two teams you're competing against are making changes at quarterback. And regardless of how talented the new guy coming in is, that's a pretty significant change. So it's a now or never. I don't buy the him getting fired thing, but I do believe Penn he's got to avoid some of those bonehead mistakes that have cost him in past seasons.
Dave's here checking in saying, who is Penn State going to get that is better?
I don't know if there is anybody they can get that's better. I don't know that they're
Urban Meyer.
Yeah, Urban
To
Meyer.
Penn State? Wow, that would be a hire.
If Franklin can't get him there this year, that there's some people, you know, there are Penn State fans that are going to start saying things that, you know, it's so you fire him and turn into Nebraska again.
Bob Swinger's got a point though.
It's
not always better. It's not always.
It's not always better, but remember, Nebraska fired Bo Pelini and hired Mike Riley. Huge difference. They went and took a mediocre coach from Oregon State. Penn State, I think, will be able to find a little bit better candidate. That's a premier job in college football. But
Sure.
I don't know that there is anybody better than James Franklin, but he has to get over this, whether it's in his head. Trust me, I'm an Ohio State guy. I lived through the John Cooper era. You know, and I heard this every year. Hey, who are we going to get that's better than John Cooper? Look at all these draft picks. Look at how this. Yeah, he can't beat Michigan. Yeah, he can't win a national postseason. You know, the longer this goes on, the more those questions are going to continue to pop up for James Franklin.
Pickles, anything?
Yeah, sorry, I just got sidetracked by the thought of Ohio State's tiny violin is like the size of a cello to most schools. So sorry if I don't exactly feel bad for you, Moen. No, it's tough. I get Bob Swinger. You know, he's been saying in chat he thinks we're kind of crazy for like, why would you turn on Franklin after he's brought success to the program? And let's be honest, they were in a really horrible spot following everything that happened before he took over, and rebuilding that program into a perennial conference contender and now a playoff contender. You know, it's a hell of a job he's done, but he is, I believe, the second most tenured coach in the conference behind Ferentz. And man, you've had more than a decade. He had a lot of grace considering where the program was, but you have to take that next step where you're winning the conference. And gosh, it's so tough to dog on a guy that made it to the semifinal round of the playoff, but you're at your absolute best. You're at your prime position to take advantage of this. And I don't have any particular love or hate for Penn State, but you know, I like seeing guys who are persistent succeed. So I hope Franklin finds something special this year.
I don't think he's making $10 million, and I believe Bob Swinger corrected there. But Clint Moses says Franklin started the phenomenon, getting paid multi-million dollars for accomplishing nothing. I wouldn't say he's not been a non-accomplishment. I mean, he's been in the championship game. He's
won Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I think he's been a successful coach. He just hasn't won him a national championship.
Yeah, and I think his last extension was $7.5 million a year. It was not $10+ million.
Okay, that's fair. Thanks. It's great to see you, Clint. Just shout out to you, brother. Let's talk about Nebraska for a second. Shooter, Texas. Good to see you, Shooter. It's a Baylor fan, Baylor Bear fan. Matt Rule has always dreamed of coaching at his alma mater, Penn State. Maybe they should fire Franklin and hire Rule.
I think Rule's still got to prove himself at Nebraska. And I'm not sold on Nebraska. I'm not sold on Dylan Raiola this year either. So if Matt Rule really wants to impress Penn State, try and get Nebraska to 9 or 10 wins this season.
Boy, if Nebraska got to 9 wins, that would be
It's a double-edged sword because if he does get to 8+ wins with Dylan Raiola this year, there's no reason to leave Nebraska. They're going to provide him every resource he needs to be successful. So, I mean, maybe he could be lured away for just a ridiculous amount of money, but the truth is, unless he can guarantee Raiola goes with him to Penn State, I don't think you make that change.
Very fair. Ryan Willie, valuable member, a constant contributor to the College Football Mafia family, saying should have played on Wisconsin for Greg.
No, don't worry, Ryan. When you guys get that axe this year, I will play on Wisconsin incessantly.
Oh, brother. BYU football, Shonsky, another valuable member of the College Football Mafia family, says Indiana plays a tougher schedule this year than last year. They missed all big brands but one. It is what it is, but why he canceled the big non-conference games? What do you his thoughts on Indiana canceling that mighty Virginia matchup? Sorry,
I mean,
take that seriously.
To be honest, that's going to be the trend with power programs going forward. I mean, these conferences are so deep, and whether you want to say they're top heavy or whatever, there's going to be enough good teams in an 18-team conference that you might end up playing 2, 3, 4 college football playoff caliber teams every season. I don't disparage Indiana. They're just going to take a lot of flack for it because of how last season went. So, like Washington, I think the only power conference opponent they have scheduled is Tennessee in like 2029 coming up. So this is going to be pretty commonplace going forward for Big Ten teams. I don't think people should look at Indiana too harshly.
Moen?
Yeah, and I would just say this too, Sean Ski. Indiana played Washington and Michigan last year. Those teams played for the national championship just a year prior, and they played Ohio State. So I would say they played 3 top brands last year.
Well, I mean, Washington was basically ripped down to the studs, but sure, we'll go with that.
Right, sure. But I mean, listen,
every season's in isolation.
Right. And Indiana scheduling non-conference opponents like that, it was a clear shot at the SEC because the SEC schedules an FCS opponent in November. And it's a little odd for them to lecture playing 8 conference games and scheduling an FCS opponent when Indiana plays 9 conference games and then just decides to schedule 3 FBS opponents.
Very fair. Timothy Green, our soldier out there on the East Coast in that region, keeping the Mountaineers, the mighty West Virginia Mountaineers, on the table always. Thank you so much for everything you do for us, Timothy. He says, everyone, please hit that like button, subscribe, share, and comment. Thank you all so very much. Timothy, thank you. Can we give a sounder for Timothy there, Moen?
Sure.
There you go. West Virginia. Always good. Always good. He had a comment after that. I think the Washington Huskies will surprise a few people this year. However, I do think the strength of the conference is you will have to go through Ohio State, folks, then Penn State, the team up north. So let me ask a question. And I almost want to take Pickles out of this, but I'm not going to. Oregon. Is this the year they finally break through? Because they have to have a top 5, if not top 2 roster in total NIL spend. They're investing, throwing money at this thing like it's going at, water on a fire. Is there any way that Oregon can break through?
I'll give my 2 cents, and everyone, purple colored glasses, I get it. As my friends down south will know, Oregon's all hat, no cattle. They put stars on paper, and then they break when the moment is greatest. So, new quarterback, and this isn't like it's Dante Moore. We saw him at UCLA. Can Lanning probably get more out of him than they did at UCLA? Sure, but he's not some unknown quantity. He has limitations, and as talented as, the team is around him, Oregon lives and dies by their quarterback play. So I think that's what trips them up this year.
Moen?
Well, they're going to have to win a playoff game this year. I mean, last year, to say embarrassing would be an understatement. Ohio State came out and put 34 points on them before they scored. That's humiliating, especially when you're the number 1 overall. seed in the playoffs.
Yes.
And you had a win over Ohio State by 1 point at home, but you still had a win over Ohio State going into that. You had a win over Penn State going into that. Ohio State and Penn State managed to win playoff games. Oregon didn't do that. So if Oregon wants to break through, they're going to have to win a playoff game. I think it's going to come down to the seeding. I think they do get a favorable seed in the first round. They win that first playoff game, and we'll see how they go from there.
Very fair. Jason Spangler. It's great to see you, Jason, always. A valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. Saying, I don't know, Will Howard wasn't special, but he had a Big 12 pedigree, which has better QBs than the Big 10. Aller is many notches below Will Howard.
If I may, this was part of a response I was having with him about Heisman, Penn State returning talent, and you need it. He's kind of made the assertion you need a Heisman caliber, a high-level quarterback to really contend. And I said, look, Cam Ward wasn't even in the playoffs, and Will Howard won the national championship. So it's not all down to quarterback play. Yes, it is the most important position on the field, and you got to at least have a competent guy. But that's what I think Drew Aller is. He has a ceiling, but he's experienced, and that goes a long way with the rest of the talent Penn State has, especially those running backs.
Moen?
Listen, I hate to stick up for Drew Aller and put Will Howard down a little bit, but listen, Drew Aller did not have Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate. He did not have 4 to 6 5-star receivers to throw to every down. He did not have Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins in his backfield. Now, I'm not saying it. Katron, Nick Singleton, very good running backs. But the only weapon pass-wise that Aller had was Tyler Warren. And by God, did he use him. But, I mean, it's hard to compare the two. You say, Will Howard got to throw to Jeremiah Smith. He got to throw to Emeka Egbuka. If Jeremiah Smith turned pro last year, he'd have been a top 3 pick. Emeka Egbuka was a first-round pick. If Carnell Tate had decided to go pro last year, I think, he probably could have been a first-round pick. It's easy for us to judge Drew Aller to Will Howard, but we're not comparing apples to apples here. We're comparing apples and oranges. There's a lot of reasons that Will Howard was successful at Ohio State.
C. Curtis, another valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. Just so everybody knows, so you know who the members are, that little S sign next to C. Curtis there, that tells you. So we appreciate C. Curtis's membership and everybody else that has done that and keeps us going around here. The money really helps us keep the lights on, as Moen personally knows. At Moen, spot on, pal. PSU needs to win something to be taken for real. Franklin has fell short too often.
Yeah, again, Final Four last year. I just think the Ohio State thing in conference, again, he could lose that Ohio State game, but if he uses that to feed and go on this masterful playoff run and win his national championship for Penn State, it changes things. But listen, I think everybody remembers watching me on Moen After Dark after Ryan Day lost that Michigan game. It starts to wear on you. It does.
I remember how upset you were.
I was furious. I was furious, to say the least. But yeah, I mean, it starts to wear on you as a fan that, hey, you can do all this great things, but you can't get past Ohio State. We're losing games we shouldn't lose because of poor decision making at the end of the game. I'm not going to blame him for the interception that Aller threw. I mean, that was one of those freaky plays that the cornerback from Notre Dame made a fantastic diving catch that, he was just trying to get it out of the way. But the fact is, you've got to get over that hump. And I think this year he has to do it. I think they've just put too much money. They brought in Jim Knowles, Katron, Nick Singleton came back. Yes, you lose Tyler Warren. You lose Abdul Carter. It's next man up there. I don't know that they've done enough in the transfer portal as far as wide receivers go, but we'll see. I mean, it's It's his. It's out there. Like you said, there were several first place votes for Penn State in the AP poll.
Absolutely. Pickles?
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying much the same. I'm not ready to call it for Franklin unless he just totally crashes out or they don't make the CFP or he just gets blown out in the first round. But this is his opportunity. This is how it felt like to be a Washington fan in 2024. You knew you were peaking at the right time where if you seized the opportunity, it was all there in front of you. So, I mean, I don't know how many shots Franklin's going to have. Has Penn State won the Big Ten since he's been head coach? Moen, do you know that off the top of head?
I don't think so. Have they, Moen?
Who, Penn State?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What year did they win the conference? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I would have to go back and look, but they did.
Okay.
They did win, and there was a year they should have won. Yeah, there was a year they should have went to the 14 playoff.
Well, I was going to say if they won the Big Ten, they would have been in the 14 playoff.
Yeah, again, I think they won that year and they were left out in favor of Ohio State.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, Argraw saying 2016 he won it, but not to knock on the guy, but with all the talent they have,
9 years ago. Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, I'd say he has to either win the conference or win at least one CFP game to kind of keep it moving.
I think he has to beat Ohio State or win a national championship. Those are the two metrics I've got up there.
Man, you high expectations, boy. But with high expectations come usually resources. Yeah. So Penn State's going to continue to compete. There's no doubt about it. Ryan Willie, another super chat, $5 super chat. I appreciate you, Ryan. Moen and Sgt. Pickles, what do you think what is meant by the Big Ten next era? What is that? It's a new logo? I can't remember what Bob's comment was, but
potentially, I think it's either a new logo or it's got to do with Fox One, the streaming product that's coming out a week from tomorrow. Right. Talking to Greg about it yesterday, I think they may be moving BTN Plus exclusively to Fox One. And then, it'll be part of a premium package where you can get BTN Plus. And like I mentioned to Greg, I hope they do it like the WWE Network does on Peacock, where they just have an archive. You can go back and look at every game. We've got these extensive catalogs dating back to the 1940s and 50s.
Right.
I don't know why we don't do more with them as a conference.
I've thought that for all of college football.
Yeah, that's what I think. But I'm leaning more towards a new logo.
Pickles, any different for you?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that it would be underwhelming in the sense that I saw people immediately like, oh, it's going to be Miami to the Big Ten. It's like, you don't tease something like that. You just load it up and fire the camera.
You announce it. You just tell the world it is.
Yeah, it's going to be underwhelming. I mean, it's either some streaming deal. I don't know. I mean, new Big Ten fan here, but I don't know why you would change the logo. It's solid. It's recognizable. It's got the 10 built into it. You're not going to rename yourself the Big 18, so I don't know why you would redo it. If it's some streaming thing, obviously, I'm hoping they've learned all the mistakes the Pac-12 network had, where just make everything, like Moen said, archive available. You can rewatch classics. Everything's just, one flat rate. You can go see everything, that isn't a live event that you want to see. I think that'd be actually pretty beneficial.
So question for you guys. Since this came down, I haven't had a chance to chat about it on air with anybody. What do you guys, except for the call-in show last night, what do you guys think about the Fox One ESPN $40 offering? For me, I think it's completely redundant, and I don't know why anybody pays $40 a month. What do you guys think about that?
Can I play on Wisconsin for Ryan Willie real quick?
Of course you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go, Ryan. Maybe Greg is still listening and heard it.
All right, so $40. You guys paying it?
Listen, outside YouTube TV, outside of a few things, I use YouTube TV to watch South Park. in sports, and that's it. If I could just get some kind of package where it's just ESPN and Fox and all the sports channels are on there, I'm probably getting rid of YouTube TV.
So, did you guys see Bob's reply to my comment about it? He basically said, I asked him if blackouts were going to happen, and he said probably not, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be more localized broadcasts, and it's not like it's going to be some uber elite platform. It's just going to have games available. What are you going to do the rest of the year?
Yeah, I understand for local broadcasts, especially with football, they got to have some limitations on it, but they got to get rid of all these blackout restrictions. I think it's kind of ridiculous. You need 10 different streaming platforms and you have to pay all these fees. It's like we all got rid of cable, but it's just reassembling itself in the form of all these subscription packages.
Right, nickel and diamond, everybody.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you have blackout restrictions. So I either offer it locally and you just know where the games are, but everything that's not that, put it on one streaming location and just put it there. And for a flat fee, you can see your team whenever you want. I understand that everybody wants a piece of the pie, so it gets cut up a bunch of ways. But the consumer ultimately, I think, wants simplicity because, I mean, I don't have any stats in front of me, but I know that they're losing tons of money just from people pirating streams rather than paying for all this stuff.
Well, I mean, yeah. What's the incentive to pay more money? I just don't get it.
Right, but if you make it simpler and more streamlined and, you're all one-stop shop for your watching your football and watching your team or even your basketball, I think that diminishes the incentive to go illegally stream it.
I think the dream is, and what's the guy from Texas Tech has elucidated it, not that he invented the idea, but it would be nice if everything was back under one unified umbrella and you just paid for college football. Didn't matter the conference, didn't matter your location. I don't know that we can ever get there, but that would be the dream. Jared Jones, who I have not seen for like ever, OG member, Buckeye in chief around here. We appreciate you so much, Jared, for being a member of the College Football Mafia family. I've missed you. I always miss you, just so you know. You can get NBC, CBS with Rabbit Ears. Well, now it's not Rabbit Ears any longer, right? Digital television. But you can get CBS, Fox, NBC, ABC, but you're still going to miss key games if you don't have Peacock, if you don't have ESPN and ESPN Plus. I mean, these are, if you're a Big Ten member, why would you pay for Fox 1 when you're also paying for BTN?
Yeah, as I personally have not had cable for several years, and it's been a struggle to watch the Huskies at times. I've always paid for whatever services, but I've had to get a VPN and say that I'm in Colorado
right.
so I can watch
yes.
my team and all this crap. And it's like, that's just an additional cost to me because it's like I said, it's just not straightforward. And I think can be pretty frustrating.
Right. Yeah. I pay for YouTube TV and Peacock. And that gets me, and Jared brings up a great point. Rabbit Ears, Fox, CBS, and NBC all have a Big Ten game every week. You can get those free over the air. Don't cost you anything. So, and as an Ohio State guy, yeah, that usually works out for me. I get 8 noon games every season on Fox. So,
stop it. R. Graw, oh shoot, I just lost. Sorry. R. Graw says, well, he won 2 playoff games and was a couple plays from going to a national championship. Are we talking about Franklin again? Boy, everybody's got Franklin on their tongue. They're no good. Penn State was better than 130 teams. So he's basically saying they're a top 5 team and it just one play here or there.
Listen, Argraw, I'm not disagreeing with you, but look at his record versus Ohio State. It's abysmal. He has to be able to get over that hump. I'm not saying Penn State's no good. I'm not saying James Franklin's no good. But the times where Penn State has lost close games, it usually has been because of James Franklin's decision-making. They struggled against USC last year. They were able to roar back. I think Penn State's a very good team. I think James Franklin's a very good team. I do think that Penn State needs to take that next step, and that's either beat Ohio State this year convincingly or win a national championship. There's only so many times you can say, I missed it by this much.
Pickles.
Yeah, much the same. I mean, Argraw commented just a second ago, look at everyone's record versus Ohio State. Yeah, of course. I mean, they're one of the winningest programs of all time.
Right.
But it's more so about that when Franklin had the opportunity to close the deal in some of those games, he, couldn't get it done. And he, Penn State should have won some of those really close games, and he made some bonehead decisions. So it's not about necessarily having a winning record versus Ohio State. It's about winning when the opportunity is there. You got to strike and really make the most of
it. Expedition Greg, who's been a member for 13 months, Moen. 13 months. Thank you so much. Expedition Greg. You're a stud, brother. You want to give it? Oh, you already gave him a sounder or no?
No, I can give him another sounder. He's an
go
Ohio
ahead. It's
State
great.
guy. Let's do this.
Let's party, Columbus.
I appreciate you, Expedition Greg. Thanks for being here tonight. I've missed you. Hey, everyone, 17 days till Ohio State beats Texas. So which is a bigger game? This was something I've been sitting on until near, we're getting closer to the end than the beginning. Which is a bigger game this year in the Big Ten? Michigan, Ohio State, or Ohio State, Texas?
Mo, and you first, because I know what you're going to say.
It's going to say I'm going to say it's Ohio State, Texas. I'm going to surprise everybody. It's because it's a Big Ten versus SEC matchup. Two top 3 teams. Arch Manning. Apparently, they've already etched his name on the Heisman, according to Paul Feinbaum.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's the most important game of the Big Ten season. It's the best Big Ten team coming off a national championship, playing against the best SEC team, a team that team beat in the playoffs to win that national championship or to get them to the national championship game. So I think there's just so many storylines there. And again, if Ohio State pulls that off and beats Texas, it goes back to the narrative that the SEC is not as dominant as it used to be, and that Big Ten teams can beat SEC teams.
Yeah, Mo, and I need you to continue that winning tradition of Texas losing to Big Ten teams because they lost to Washington in the bowl game in 2023 and 2024. So keep that going for us. But it's a huge game, but let's just assume that nobody gets blown out or loses by more than like 14 points in Texas, Ohio State. I don't think that game actually matters to the big picture that much, as long as it's a relatively close game, because either team, it's a good loss or a good win. Ryan Day's got a Michigan problem, regardless of how he is.
Sure. But I will give you this. But remember, if Ohio State beats Texas, Ohio State will jump to number 1 in the polls. That makes the Ohio State-Penn State game this year number 1 versus number 2.
Assumedly so, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. The Big Lubbock, never shy, checking in around here. We appreciate you, Lubbock. I'm pretty sure Texas Tech is undefeated against Indiana all time in football.
Yeah.
Given Indiana's history, I'm not sure that's a flex, but point well taken, Big Lubbock.
And our draw, I had to look it up just to confirm. James Franklin's record against Ohio State is 1-10.
Yikes.
There have been some fantastic Penn State teams.
That's John Cooper-esque.
That's bad. That's what I'm just saying.
That is really bad.
He needs to get over that hump. I
thought he was at least batting, 400, 300, somewhere in there.
No.
He's 1-9, you said?
1-10.
Oh my Lord. 11 years. If I was a Penn State fan, I would be getting. Look, it's a classic conundrum. Is what you could get better than what you currently have? Nebraska got rid of Solich. Solich was winning 10 games a season, was recruiting at an extremely high level. They fire Solich and haven't had a winning season in like 5 decades. There is the possibility. I don't care who. And Nebraska is a blue blood. Penn State is exactly in the same position. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, to be fair, Solich was a good coach. He went on to coach at Ohio University, did a fantastic job there.
I thought he was a great coach.
Bo Pelini, they hated him. He was an asshole. He wasn't nice to people. But Bo Pelini was winning 8 to 9 games every year, and he was winning postseason games for him. And they got rid of him because he was mean. And they brought in Mike Riley, who was objectively not mean and objectively couldn't coach a Nebraska team to win
Riley
8 or 9 games.
He was soft. Pickles, you want to comment on that? You don't have to.
Yeah, sorry to date myself. That's a little before my era. I don't have fond memories of Nebraska being good. I mean, when I was a kid, Washington went out to Lincoln and, had some good games. But, yeah. Nebraska
the 80s and 90s Nebraska teams, every year, they were 1, 2, 3 every year.
It's just weird to see that they've been consistently not up to that standard. Like, some teams, they go through peaks and valleys. That's Washington in a nutshell. They have really good seasons and really bad ones.
Right.
But for a team as storied as Nebraska, where you go look at every single offseason, who's a real blue blood list, Nebraska's almost always on there. To have consistently not, gotten over the hump. I mean, it's a credit to the Big Ten, but it's just they got Matt Rule, if he wants to keep his job, has got to be pushing that 10, 11 win ceiling soon.
I agree.
And it's true. And you want to bring up just real quick, Bomber?
Sure, yeah.
Tom Osborne was a guy who couldn't get over the hump until he won his first national championship back in 94. And then he won one in 95, and then I believe 97.
Yes.
But there were a lot of years for Nebraska where they just did not get it done in terms of a national championship in the late 1980s. And
Oklahoma was
people had these. That's right. And people had these conversations.
Yeah.
And people had these tough conversations, and they stuck with him. And he got over that hump in 94, and then he won again in 95, and then he won again in 97. So maybe this is a year for James Franklin. I hope it is. Good luck to him.
Texas has continually underperformed. Recently, they've been better, but in the 80s and 90s, Texas, in the 60s and 70s, Texas was it. I mean, it was Longhorns all day long. You get to the 80s and 90s, and they kind of Oklahoma surpasses them, Nebraska surpasses them. So Penn State's been in that sort of miasma of the middle.
If you would have bet me a decade ago that Steve Sarkisian was the one to break Texas out of their funk, I would have lost a lot of money.
Well, you're embittered Washington fan, though. Sarkisian burned.
Following
Washington.
Tyrone Willingham, anything was an improvement on 0-12.
So agreed.
Steve Sarkisian was actually really good for the program.
I agree. Look, I'm a Sarkisian fan. I'm a BYU guy. He was very, very good for my school. He's had some personal demons, but I give him full credit for going to the bottom of the barrel and climbing back up. Nick Saban, help or no? That's tough. People should stay off the personal challenges stuff, and nobody's perfect. Mr. Ed Wayner, Houston in the house, saying, if you are ESPN and you lost UFC to Paramount Plus, CBS Sports, do you contact Paramount Plus, CBS, and see if they can add them to the ESPN direct-to-consumer offering, which is coming? Would they drive the price closer to a $50 a month? I'm not a UFC fan, so I have no opinion. What do you guys think about that?
I think Pickles was right. I mean, why don't we just merge all these damn streaming things, pay $200 a month, and it'll be just like cable.
I would like that.
We got away from cable to streaming, and we're just going to make streaming just one big package. You need everything in order to get everything. It'll be $200 a month. It'll be just like cable. The only difference is you don't have to wait for an 8-hour window for a cable guy to come fix some problem in your house, Mr. Ed. By the way, Mr. Ed, I got this just for you. I promised. I fulfilled.
Hello, I'm Mr. Ed.
Who here has seen Mr. Ed reruns? No, you have not, Pickles.
Yes.
You lie. No,
No.
You're too
No.
young
Okay.
to watch Mr.
Here's
Ed.
the thing. I used to go to my grandparents in Montana every summer. That's the kind of stuff they would watch. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. All right. Maybe I'll let you slide. Mr. Ed in reruns was classic TV. That's all I can say. Thanks, Ed. It's great to see you, man. Jared Jones, again, valuable member of the College Football Mafia family, saying Kirby Smart at Georgia is 1-6 all time versus Alabama. That yeesh. And yet, how many national championships did they have?
He's got two national
Right.
championships.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Quick reset before we continue. We're an hour and a half into this thing. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up, comment or question. Let us know how we're doing. Turn on your notifications. Very, very important. That little bell, strike it for both Twitter. A lot of people don't know you have notifications on Twitter. Just follow College Football Mafia, and you will just hit that little bell, and you'll know when we do things. And then at last, please, if you're on X, jump over to YouTube. You don't have to sit there and watch us, but subscribe. Do us a favor. We're trying to push extremely hard to get to 5,000 subs by the end of the summer, and you can help us get there. It's getting close. We're starting to run out of time, but I think we'll get it. A lot of people watching us on YouTube right now, so we better be seeing some new subs. I'm putting the hammer down. Let's see here. Jason Spengler says, great show. Everybody loves Mr. Ed. Argra, yeah, nobody seems to say Texas get win the big one and want to crown them. So Texas is one of those teams that are picked every year to win it. But
Difference is they actually deserve the recognition this time.
you think so? You think Texas is going to be there at the end?
Man, the 12-team playoff makes it so chaotic. I think it was a lot easier to predict when it was a 4-team playoff because you essentially just picked who you thought the champions were going to be.
Obviously.
Yeah. No, but like truthfully, I think it's such a crapshoot because it only takes one fluke game to knock you out. And I mean, he couldn't quite get past Washington. I don't know. I mean, like how we're saying about James Franklin, I wonder what they're saying in Texas if Sark doesn't get it done this year. I mean, he's got a stud young quarterback. Oh, sidebar. This whole Arch Manning, Heisman, greatest quarterback in the country, dude has not taken a snap.
And he couldn't beat Quinn Ewers, who can't complete a 5-yard pass in preseason camp. So
yeah, Texas is stacked to the gills with talent. I get it. He's a highly recruited dude, but like, the best players of all time have all had interceptions and bonehead plays. Like, it's just insane. I don't get it. Like, isn't Jameis Winston the only redshirt freshman to ever win the Heisman? No true freshman has ever won it. Like, why are we talking
what was
about
Johnny Heisman?
Tebow.
Was the other one?
Tebow wasn't a true freshman though.
No,
he was a redshirt freshman.
So like,
oh, you're right.
I don't get it. Yeah, Texas is still going to be very good, but like I totally predict that you're going to see brand new college quarterback growing pains, even at a team like Texas.
Playing in the SEC is no joke. So,
yeah.
And to be fair, Texas did use Arch last year. They had several packages that were Arch Manning packages, but it mostly
I thought he took some snaps.
It mostly involved him running. Not
I'll raise my hand and say I forgot he was on the team last year. I thought he was a true freshman.
he was there, but again, Quinn Ewers.
It doesn't make sense. Why would you play Quinn Ewers over him? I don't.
Listen. I'm going to defend Steve Sarkisian on this. I think Steve Sarkisian was being loyal to a guy, and I completely understand why. I'm not saying Quinn Ewers was a terrible quarterback. He won them a lot of games against SEC opponents. So, but yeah, I think, listen, he got Quinn Ewers to transfer from Ohio State, come back to Texas, and I think he was just being loyal to his guy.
Loyalty can get you fired.
This is a business, Moen. It's about
Yeah,
W's and L's.
that
and
may be true.
Quinn Ewers was not getting it done. Like I said, he lost to Washington twice.
Yeah, and I look, I can't get off this. I'm sorry. I'll get to this, Justin R, in just a second, but the Texas thing, I just have a bugaboo about. They arguably have the best recruiting classes every year. They've put more money into facilities and resources than almost everybody. Basically, they can have whatever they want if they want it. Texas Tech stealing some of their people. But the bottom line is he couldn't beat out Quinn Ewers last year, who in the playoffs did not look good. So I don't know. That is the question. How is he all of a sudden Heisman material when, as Pickles says, all he did was take some draw plays last year? I mean,
all aboard the Paul Feinbaum hype train. I guess the check from the Texas boosters must have cleared.
All right, Justin R., good to have you here tonight. A valuable member of the family and representing the USF Bulls. Manzo was a true freshman when he won it. Is that true? I didn't think any true freshman had won it.
I thought he was a redshirt freshman.
I thought he was a redshirt as well, but if I'm correct, somebody go on Grok or Google and confirm that for me. I trust you, Justin R. I just, in my head, I didn't think a true freshman had won it. I'm probably wrong. You're probably right. Let's see here. Let me get to some more comments that I have flagged. The Big Lubbock, the SEC only gets 3 teams in this year. Okay, so let's assume that happens, and that would be a disaster for the SEC. 3 years in a row, only 3 teams back-to-back in a 12-team playoff. ESPN is losing everything, money, eyeballs, everything else, because they own the whole shooting match with the SEC and the college football playoff. What happens? Is there any scenario you guys see they only get 3 teams in? I personally I'm on record saying they're going to get 4 teams in, whether they deserve it or not, because of all their bitching and mowing in the last 2 years in the news and the offseason and everything else. And I think that's going to make a difference in piling up. What do you guys think about that?
If you saw on Twitter today on both the Big Ten Mafia and my own page, I linked, someone put a chart they graphed out over the past 10 seasons. Apologies for the dogs. They graphed out the starting ranking position versus the final ranking position. And over the past decade, the 2 most overrated teams in terms of where they started and where they ended were South Carolina and Auburn.
Oh, geez.
The SEC is just like, they get the bias. It's real. And it's the same reason I've argued against the 5 and 7 selection model. They're going to get that extra team in. And Alabama, Florida State was all the evidence everyone should need to see that they're going to protect their property. This is about money. And if they can justify it, they're going to do it.
Moen.
Yeah, if the SEC only gets 3 teams in this year, I don't know what Paul Feinbaum's going to do with himself. Maybe go to the pet store, get a couple 12 mice, a pack of 12 mice, and just unhinge his jaw like the lizard man he is and eat them because he's part iguana.
There we go.
Yeah, so I mean, but look, I don't think that's going to happen. But I do want to put this back out here again because the SEC keeps bringing it up. Alabama last year lost to Michigan in the postseason.
Oh, stop.
That is a Michigan team that was missing most of their starters. Alabama had most of their starters, including their Heisman candidate quarterback.
But they don't matter.
South Carolina lost to Illinois.
They should have been in the playoff last year.
Shane Beamer had a seizure on the sideline because Brett Bielema went out there and did a little YMCA dance. I mean, those 2 teams, I mean, I'm sorry. I think the SEC is going to get 5 teams in this year, to be honest with you.
Gross.
I've got the Big 12 getting 1 in, and I've got the ACC getting 2. So
Clemson's very good. Miami's very good.
Miami's very good, yeah.
And I think saw last year there is a
who's playing quarterback at Miami. Sorry to get sidetracked, but
Carson Beck.
Oh, yeah, that's why I didn't remember, because I'm just not impressed.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with him either. I mean, 3 picks. He's like 3 picks Carson, right? Every game he goes out and throws 3 picks, and that's fine if you put in 5 touchdowns. But he's not doing that.
Between him and Kirby Smart keeping him in, I legitimately think he cost Georgia at least another title.
Maybe 2. Justin R says, I am wrong. It was a red shirt. My bad. I appreciate that, Justin. Thank you so much for being here. I wasn't trying to be right. I was just trying to recall from the gray matter in my head. So everybody knows, I think, let me see this. We are going to stop in 15 minutes. So last call out, I've got a bunch of comments already flagged. So at this point, if you want to join the show, it will have to be via super chat to guarantee that comment to be read, other than, or a new member comment, or else we will move along and we'll call the show to the close at the top of the hour. So super chats or comments have already got flagged going forward. We appreciate everybody being here tonight. We're going to start. Let's see here. We're going to go here. Tony Lawson, Nebraska is 53-67 in the Big Ten Conference since they joined. Let's throw money aside. Is Nebraska regretting moving out of the Big 12?
No.
Yeah, I agree. No, I don't think they regret that at all. It wasn't just Nebraska leaving. Texas A&M, Mizzou, Colorado. There were a lot of teams that were leaving over the Longhorn Network. So I don't think Nebraska is having any buyer's remorse. I don't think Missouri's having any buyer's remorse. Colorado did have some buyer's remorse, but they rectified it. So, I mean, I don't think Nebraska's regretting being in the Big Ten.
No, Nebraska staying would not have prevented the Texas and Oklahoma schools from leaving.
No, I don't. That's not. Yeah, that's not the argument. I think it comes down to them winning, right? And I do they regret, because that's an upside down stat. I got rid of it, but the upside 53-67 is not good in the Big Ten. So
no,
a blue blood program. I think that
the double-edged sword is that without that Big Ten money, would they be able to recruit to the level and get her Dylan Raiola?
Yeah, but has it paid off for him? Dylan was not uber elite last year. Let's not make him Mr. Heisman either. I think he has a bunch of talent, but he can't put it all together either.
No, but he's young, and you can see the flashes of him being the elite talent. He's got the arm for it. And it's hard to find those guys, especially at that position.
Sure. Very much so. Argra says, do you know who says bowl games don't matter? Fans of teams that don't win bowl games. That might sound, that's snarky, Argra, but I got to disagree with you. I think bowl games have absolutely no basis in reality now. I will qualify that now. In the last 10 years, starting with the first 4-team college football playoff, that made all other bowl games irrelevant.
Ask Brett Bielema and PJ Fleck if bowl games matter.
Well, but that's to keep your job. That has nothing to do with being irrelevant in the national playoff picture. I can. Everybody has their opinion.
Yeah,
I just don't.
I'm just saying, when a 6-6 Big Ten team that's missing most of its starters, beats an SEC team that everybody lauded for the playoffs when they have most of their starters, suddenly bowl games don't matter.
I think it's apathy. No, I think it's apathy.
I'm telling you, the SEC fans, as soon as you bring up the fact that the SEC won 1 bowl game against the Big Ten last year, bowl games don't matter. Now, if it was the other way, if it was the other way around, we would hear nothing but the SEC crowing about those bowl game records against the Big Ten and how the Big Ten.
I'm not denying that.
Yeah,
but the Big 12 claims great records in bowl games. I don't think any of it matters. Pickles is down there ruminating. Do you have a comment about the bowl games?
I mean, like I said, it's completely context dependent, because for a team that didn't expect to make a bowl game, it's a huge deal and it's a massive accomplishment. Or if you're a team on the rise and your trajectory is that you're going to take that bowl game potential win, like Washington this last year, they came up short on the very last play of the bowl game, but people were excited about it because our true freshman quarterback played well. So the vibe is completely different depending on how you thought your season was going to go.
So maybe we should qualify it this way. I think they are irrelevant, but that doesn't mean that they don't have meaning. Can we be happy there? They have absolutely no meaning when it comes to relevancy. But yes, every fan base wants to see their team play and go out and win. And it is a slap in the face that the SEC doesn't show up for games that aren't in the playoff. It is something that they should hang their heads about. There's no doubt about it. And go ahead and crow about it if your conference or school happens to be really good at it. I'm just saying it's playoff or bust now. I don't think anything else matters.
Even in the 4-team era, I think that your New Year's Six game still really mattered because they have so much history behind them.
Right.
But now, not much. It's playoff or bust for the teams really looking for it.
C. Curtis, again, a valuable member of the College Football Mafia family, saying the SEC is so damned overrated, the tremendous BS bias. Look, I am the number one person you will ever meet that understands what the bias means, being a BYU fan. I've been doing it for 50 plus years, people. So don't come to me and say anything about bias, because I can tell you minute and second how long that's been the case. I just find it funny that everybody's stepping up now saying it's a big deal when nobody talked about it 5 years ago.
By the way, Bomber, you made a statement a couple seconds ago. The SEC plays down in bowl games that are not playoff games. The SEC played down in playoff games last year.
Fair enough. Yeah,
Tennessee, Georgia. The only SEC team that won last year was Texas, and I still don't think they should have won. Arizona State should have won that game. That was pretty clear targeting, in my opinion.
Well, they did take care of Clemson.
I just think that it's this thing that the bias, where the bias matters and how it affects the bowl games and perception of these conferences is all related to not how they play each other or against other conferences. It's what is the purpose of the win. If it's just to say, hey, my contract, I get a bonus because we won that extra game, we got to a bowl game, we did these other achievable goals, fine, whatever. But for the programs that actually want to make the playoff and compete, I think Tennessee was overrated. I think South Carolina should have been in there. Miami and BYU, I think, should have been in consideration, if not in there, over SMU. So, unfortunately, they only play 12 times. It's not the NFL. We can't sort them out in divisions. It will always be this way as long as we have anything more than 64, maybe 72 teams in the whole shooting match. All right.
Yeah. Real quick, Stormy Cyclone, just because we already kind of talked about this earlier. Big Ten announcement we're assuming is either a logo redesign or some kind of streaming deal. I think it's much to do about nothing. Prepare to be underwhelmed.
Yeah. Stormy Cyclone again. Great to have you here, Stormy, a valuable member, OG member of the College Football Mafia family, saying he said he moving out of the country if the Big Ten won the Natty for 3 years straight. We're talking about Feinbaum here. So start packing, Paul.
Yeah, go back to the Galapagos with the rest of you iguanas.
If it's the field versus SEC, who's got the better chance of winning the national championship?
The field. It's always the field. But
I don't know that it's always the field.
Well, in a 12-team playoff, I think it's the field, but specifically because I think there are 3 Big Ten teams that have a legitimate chance. I could see any one of them making that. I could see a scenario where it's 2 Big Ten teams playing for the national championship.
Moen?
Could you imagine if the Final Four are 4 Big Ten teams?
If the SEC isn't in the championship, not even playing for the championship 3 years in a row. Imagine.
Well, maybe that's another question. I'm glad you brought that because it just jumped to mind. What if the SEC does get 4 in, but the Big Ten now only gets 3. It continues to undercut this 4-4-2-2 thing, right? I'm over debating 5-11, 4-4, whatever. I don't care about it anymore, but I do know that every year it's not a given any longer in a 12-team playoff that both the SEC and the Big Ten will get 4 teams in every year.
I
More likely
agree
than
with
not.
that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Look at that. I'm not so stupid. Ryan Willie, another $2 super chat saying too many boys. Oh, I don't know what that is. What's he talking about?
I'm not
Okay.
100% sure what you're saying here, Ryan. Was that?
I'm not sure I want to comment on that. I'm just going to leave it lie. Thank you so much for the $2, Ryan. But I'm not going to touch that comment. Steve Moser checking in at the end of the show. Where you been, brother? That 4-4-2-2 thing was stupid. Yeah, it's a narrative, and
count me firmly in the people that wanted. I think 8 teams was always perfect, and you do like a 5+3 or a 6+3 back in the day. I was always on 8 teams was perfect, but we know that money trumps all, and it's the same reason why I think it'll get to 16 eventually.
I think you could end up with 24 very easily with first round buys for the top 8.
I don't want an FCS. I love the FCS playoffs, but it's its own thing.
Oh, too many boys, too many bowls. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense.
Please, thank you for clearing that up. Okay, can I just
some of the bowls are cool because they're unique and specific or historic in some way, like the Sun Bowl in El Paso. That's where Washington played
sure.
last year.
Who doesn't love to go to El Paso in December?
Right, but you know what I mean. It's at least got
Listen,
something
guys.
going for it. I don't need.
It's something to watch on TV.
Yeah.
During the holidays, I get it.
Yeah,
6-6, whoever team versus some
I get it.
MAC team. I don't care.
I love the magic of bowls. I love it.
Listen, guys, there's a bowl game. Put a bet on it, and then you have a reason to watch it, and it's instant excitement.
All I know is you can never have too much football, and it never lasts long enough. And I want more teams. I could care less whether it's balanced or not. I know what you're saying about the 8 or the 4. I say
8 was always perfect.
the more
8 was always perfect.
I don't think so. I think the more people you get involved, the better it'll be. That's why I think we need to expand the freaking playoff in basketball.
No.
Go to 96. I have no problem with it at all. Let everybody get in. How fun is a tournament that has a bunch more schools competing?
I've never put this Pickles video together because I'm not the biggest basketball guy, but 32 was always perfect, and I can prove it mathematically.
Yeah, you are. Well, that is what you do.
It is.
Trent Brown, my brother's namesake, somebody close to my heart. Trent, thank you so much for being a member of the College Football Mafia family. Too many bowls. Come on. Let's be nice.
Yeah.
No reason to be.
Ryan made a typing error.
Moen, you got a Girls by Motley Crue drop in there?
No,
I don't know what Trent. Who is Trent Brown a fan of?
Me, BYU. I was just gonna get it, and then you took it away.
Oh, okay.
Right here, BYU.
Well, the most. Okay, I was just gonna put it on the super chat. Okay,
give him a Cougar. I'm sorry, we're talking. There we go. Every first down. Let's go. He also said a little bit earlier, BYU, the most underrated team in the past 15 years, according to pre-post polls. BYU in the last 50 years is the most underrated team. You might yell at a wall. It's fact. I'm not going to argue with you. Another super chat from Stormy Cyclone. So much for being here. We appreciate you, and thanks for the super chat. Are you ready for some football? 10 till we get our fix. 10 days.
And I'm sure Stormy Cyclone wants to hear a healthy supply of this coming from Dublin.
Iowa State in the house.
That's one of the more solid fight songs out there.
Let's see. Thank you so much, Stormy. And we are up against it, everybody. So unless I see any last minute super chats, we are going to check out of here. I hope everybody appreciated our Big Ten preview. I just want to let everybody know, and there's a bunch of you watching right now, make sure you subscribe on X, or follow us on X and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on X, do us a favor, jump over to YouTube, College Football Mafia, hit that subscribe button. We're pushing to 5,000 subs. And tomorrow, again, I cannot emphasize this enough, I'm interviewing the AD, the athletic director of Boise State University, Jeremiah Dickey, here tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time. He doesn't do a lot of live shows. He does recordings. He does other things. He's coming on live with me, which means it's a pretty special deal. So everybody try to join me live. If you don't, I'll work with Moen and we'll get that video reposted. But it's good. I've been chasing this interview for a very long time, and I'm really proud that we're going to have him in the house. All of a sudden, Justin pops in. We appreciate you, Justin. $10 super chat. Bam. I got an idea for the non-CFP bowls. Draw the matchups at random, but instead of only getting football, they play each other in all other Olympic sports as well. That's a cool idea I've not heard before.
Stanford is about to wreck some fools.
Stanford's a powerhouse all of a sudden.
Yeah, they're coming to Provo in September.
Yeah, the only problem is you got to have a winning record for a bowl, and I don't think Stanford football can pull it off.
You couldn't be much farther down than Stanford is right now, which is ironic since they have the largest endowment in the entire world.
Yeah, well,
It's just incredible.
Just goes to show out there, people, not everything in the world is being well endowed.
Oh, boy. What do you got to do here at the end of the show? Come on now. As we get out of here, I'm going to play this, and then we are going to sign off cold from this. I had this on replay for an entire hour while I was working at my computer today. I hope everybody appreciates it. This is the one and only Keith Jackson. This is 1988. This is the USC Notre Dame game. And there's nothing better than USC Notre Dame in November. I'm just telling everybody that is peak football. And I hope everybody has a great evening. As we sign off, Moen or you want to say anything else?
well, that's Pickles, not you. But I will go ahead before you play that. Let me do a sounder for Justin R.
Sure.
In line with that.
Okay. There we go. There we go. Yes. 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 Oh my gosh, that's got me going. And here it is, Keith Jackson.
I'm Keith Jackson. Saturday here on ABC Sports. Number 1, Notre Dame goes against number 2, Southern California. Rodney Peete off a dramatic performance in the victory over the UCLA Bruins last week will lead the undefeated Trojans against the undefeated Irish at the Los Angeles Coliseum. What a way to close a college football season, with all the elements that go into making this a piece of Americana.
There we go. Everybody have a great night. Check me out tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We really appreciate you watching tonight. Thank you to all the super chats. And everybody, please stay safe. We'll talk to you later. Peace.